Welcome back, everyone. NicknLex here. Thank you so much for joining me today to this new episode of Music with Nick. Today we got a marathon by JK. Thank you so much for reaching out, and I'm very excited to do this. This is going to be a Shaft marathon, and I don't know if I've talked about, I think, the theme song. I do remember hearing it when I watched, and I just mentioned this yesterday when we did, we reacted to the full album of 52nd Street by Billy Joel, which amazing album. Check it out. We're gonna post some clips of that on YouTube because we just had so much fun. I can't stop listening to Zanzibar because it literally reminded me of Steely Dan. But I mentioned Shaft, you know, that the crybaby, the wah, the flutes, and you know, because Billy Joel is such a complete artist, and that it reminded me of the music. But I remember doing something by the artist. So we're gonna listen to 3 songs, and Issac Hayes, and I literally put like the best song I've heard in a long time in the thumbnail. It's still, I'm actually looking at the video. That was a marathon I did for Dave, and I was just so blown away by Issac Hayes. So I'm sure he's gonna blow my mind today as well. And again, thank you so much, JK, for reaching out, for your support as a Dan member, and also for requesting these marathons with all you guys, you know, and you guys for clicking on the video. So if you're a fan of Issac Hayes, this is the time to be on the channel right now. So we're going to do 2 songs that are from Spotify and 1 video. We're going to do Issac Hayes' Cafe Regio from the Shaft album, and we're going to do No Name Bar from the Shaft album. That is from 1971. And then we're going to do a more recent video from 2002 from his induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I wanted to read really quickly. I always do this. If you send me an email, I'll read it, even though it's a tiny little bit of information. It says, "Hi, Nick. Sure hope you're feeling better. I'm still under the weather." This is like 3 weeks now. In honor of the upcoming Academy Awards, we will be watching. We have like this tradition, Alexia and I. We've done it since like the last 12 years. We always watch all the best movies, like the movies that are nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and we kind of like steer into some other movies for if there's a nomination for like Best Actor, Best Actress, and supporting roles. We also watch those. Sometimes it's within the same movie that's nominated for Best Picture, but and then sometimes even best cinematography. It depends on the time, but we have like this really cool. We write down all the movies, all the Oscars, and then we watch them. It's just a thing we've been doing forever. They've been better and worse, and you know, but we still love it. We're movie freaks, music freaks as well. But we just love it, and sometimes there's been some really great films in the last 10 years. And also we go back, you know, 10 years back, 20 years back, and watch those Oscar nominated movies. And it's just really cool. And there's some, you know, some hit or miss movies in there, sometimes in the categories. But I think this year has been solid, very, very solid. And we've been just like having a blast watching these movies. And I guess in a week, the Academies are, so a lot of people don't watch them anymore. We just love, you know, the whole spectacle and BS, you know, that goes on. And, you know, it's just, it's like watching a football game, you know, honestly, it's just fun. So it says here, in honor of the upcoming Academy Awards, I'm requesting 3 songs from the Oscar-winning 1971 soundtrack. I didn't even know this. Shaft by Issac Hayes, and it's Cafe Regios, No Name Bar, and then the video request is Issac Hayes performing the title song at his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 2002. Thanks, JK. Thank you so, so much. And yeah, I mean, this year, it's been so surprising. The movies that came out, like The Brutalist, just amazing. We loved The Apprentice, 2 performances that are amazing. What was the other one by Kieran Culkin? I don't remember the name, but it's not nominated for best movie, but we watched it anyways. And then of course Demi Moore with amazing return, and The Substance, super bizarre. Like if you're into like body horror, watch it. If you don't watch it. It's really gross, but it's just a fantastic film. And just everything, you know, all the other ones, the movie, what is it called, the Bob Dylan, Complete Unknown, wonderful. I'm Still Here. There's so many movies. I think 9 movies are nominated for Best Picture, and just fantastic. I don't know them by heart right now. And what was it called? Conclave. That was just an amazing film. Just try to watch what you can. You're gonna have a good time. This time they're really good. A little bit of change of pace, very, very long pictures, and I don't know, just very good stuff. So I'm going to stop talking about the Oscars. All right, so here we go with the first track, which is the Cafe Regios. Here we go. I hope you enjoy, and thank you for being here. If you like the video, if you like the marathon, the format, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. All right, here we go. Is that George Benson? Great drumming and the percussion. So good. So much going on. I love it. I haven't even checked what soundtracks are nominated for this year. Very cool, very different, you know, from the sound, the OSTs that we get. Most of the stuff nowadays is, you know, Hans Zimmer, and he's super proficient. Every movie kind of sounds completely different. And if you wouldn't really know his style, then you wouldn't know that it's him. I mean, he uses a lot of bass and very like low register instrumentation, but it's always different. Sometimes he uses a rock band, you know, sometimes it goes completely orchestral. It's very, very cool. Like Hans Zimmer, he is like the new, I think I would say, John Williams, you know, like obviously very different style. He doesn't do that classical, you know, fanfare that John is so famous for, but I don't know, he has his own, you know, he has his own style. But this is so cool that this was an Oscar. I really thought it was George Benson, and he just had that style of playing those octaves all through the song. But I love the whole, like, you know, the orchestration of the violins. There's trumpets or French horns. I always get those wrong, you know, but I love the whole. It's a beautiful instrumental piece here, and it's not George Benson. It's indeed, here we have him. I was also looking up the movie because I was like, hey, I should really watch this movie, you know, because I did see a remake. I think in the late 90s, it came out in the late 90s with Samuel Jackson and a very young Christian Bale. And I couldn't stand him in that movie. I didn't know Christian Bale. I hadn't seen American Psycho yet, and it's such a great film, and he's such a good actor, and he's such a method actor. He's so dedicated to his roles. I don't know if you've seen Christian Bale lose an incredible amount of weight for the Machinist, and then he gained an incredible amount of weight for Vice, and he's just insane. And then he played Batman. I mean, not as good as my Batman is still Michael Keaton, you know. That's my favorite Batman, but close second, Christian Bale is an amazing Batman. So I just had it pulled up here, the soundtrack. Here's the film, and also it says here why it is important. I did not know this. This came out in 1971, helped launch what was then known as the blaxploitation genre, and brought audiences one of the first black action heroes. So that's very very cool, very important, and I'm happy that, you know, that continued throughout. I see that there's a whole series of Shaft, and I love that, you know, when they came out with what was it, Blade, Wesley Snipes. I think he was the first black superhero from the Marvel. I don't know if it's DC or Marvel. I'm not that, you know, well versed in the comic book world, but I do once in a while. Batman has always been, yes, very dear to my heart. I know that's DC, but I haven't really watched all the Marvel movies. It's just too much. There's too much going on in those movies for my taste. All right, so but back to the music. Just the bass here, the guitar, the drumming, and the percussion. It's just a very cool style that was very, you know, popular in the 70s, and you can hear it in other, you know, artists' productions as well. You know, there was a lot of percussion, and drums, and, you know, orchestral instrumentation such as the violin, and sometimes the oboes, flutes, stuff like that, and trumpets, and saxophones and stuff like that. It's just like, it's such a great way to fill spaces, and it's a, I don't know, I love that style, and it's just a style that they don't do anymore, nowadays. I mean, yes, there's some music that of course uses it, Latin music of course, but maybe not in like a soundtrack, let's say. But yeah, very interesting. So let's check out the second song. I love that these are longer. There is also like a little bit room for improvisation, and maybe the whole, I don't know, it's like cool for the scenes of a movie. I can envision the action and all that stuff with that music. It's really, really cool. So No Name Bar is next. Let's give it up here for another Issac Hayes number, and then we're gonna watch the live clip. Here we go. Bass and guitar. Already great theme. Very cool drumming. What a great theme. Wow. Super catchy, this theme. That Hammond organ. So epic. Wow. 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 That was, holy moly. What a great, from start to finish, this was just amazing. Let me just, I want to pull up the album. This was, it's so different, you know, like how the music changed in movies, but this sounds amazing. Because yes, I think after George Lucas came up with Star Wars and the whole classical, you know, fanfare style, like took over, like people like Alan Silvestri and, you know, just like Jerry Goldsmith and all the great composers of the 80s. I would say that the late 70s, like Alien is still, you know, amazing. But Star Wars 1977, you know, and then Alien, and then we just got like this whole, like every movie wanted to sound like Star Wars after that, you know, which is kind of, I guess, you know, a style like E.T., you know, Steven Spielberg, also hiring John Williams and stuff like that. And you would just hear composers throughout, and it lasted into the early 2000s. And then I guess Hans Zimmer and some other composers, there's so many great film composers nowadays, but I just can't memorize them right now. But it just changed. Even the trailers nowadays, you know, there's no trailer guy, you know. Remember in the 70s and 80s there was a guy, are you ready, you know, the trailer guy. Even that changed, and now the trailers are very fast paced, and unfortunately they show half of the movies, but I think it's always been this way. We don't watch trailers for the same reason. Back to the music. This one had such a catchy theme here, like the guitar doing their thing with the sliding, the bass, the drums, the percussion again. I love that flute, you know, carrying that theme. I love when it like rolls off a little bit there, the flutes. And that was just such a great theme, very memorable, just a great theme for a film. And I love that little pause. And then when that sax solo hit, that was just, that I was not expecting that. That was literally like the cherry on top, because it was already such a memorable theme, you know, like it was like kind of like a theme and then a second theme, like Indiana Jones, you know, that there's like 3 themes within the movie, and then you can all kind of like memorize them. And I love that, you know, that there's like, hey, you know, I have 2 themes, you know, which one do you like more? You know, John Williams asked Steven Spielberg, I have 2 Indiana Jones themes. which one do you like more? And he's like, why don't we put in both? And that's what they did. So that's why we have two themes. It's so cool. But this was just fantastic. I'm not surprised this won an Academy Award. It's so well played. It's an instrumental music, but in this early 70s, this is before Steely Dan, before Santana, before the instrumental kind of like jazz fusion, like, you know, bubble, you know, burst. I could be wrong, you know, there's some crazy good jazz fusion from the 60s, you know, but we're talking about more, you know, I would say Miles Davis, and you know, we have well, Thelonious Monk and Coltrane, you know, that is, I guess, before the electric guitar jazz fusion. But this is like right there in between, I think, you know, this is just great film music, but also this can be consumed not just as film music. I'm for example, I love to listen to film scores. I put on some, you know, Bernhard Herrmann, some, you know, the guy who did all the, you know, the soundtracks for Alfred Hitchcock. That's some amazing music, you know, just without even the imagery, just to listen to that. And I used to buy, and I was the weird kid who used to buy, you know, Star Wars, the soundtrack, and Blade Runner, and people were like looking at me like, what is this guy, you know? It's just like, you know, I've always been into instrumental music since I was a kid, and yeah, if I heard something cool in a movie, I would try and like find it. And it was very difficult in Mexico, especially, you know. But I guess if you've been watching the channel, you guys know that I love film music, and also the way I write is very in that vein. I only write instrumental music, and it sometimes it sounds a little bit like the stuff that I watch. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little break here because I want to put on the video, and that's the last song we're gonna listen to. So give me a sec. All right, everyone, here we have it. We have Isaac Hayes' Shaft 2002 Induction, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the YouTube channel. And man, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be epic. So let's load it up here. All right. Oh, what did I do? I closed it. Let's make it big. There we go. All right. All right. Yeah. That crybaby. That bass. Nice. Now the famous flute. Yeah, I remember this. I love it. Yes.
private digital sex machine to all the chicks.
Wow, man.
Who is a man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Can you dig it?
Can you dig it? Yeah.
Who's the cat that won't come out when there's danger all about? Right on. Listen, this cat shaft is a bad mother. Too much shaft. He's a complicated man, and no one understands him but his woman.
That Wawa. Wow. So good. And that's what I love about the Oscars. You know, I know some people don't like them because it's a bunch of rich people getting together talking about their accolades. But I mean, in the end, you know, yes, it's a bunch of rich people, but they are artists, and there's some really kick-ass actors and some kick-ass musicians, and they come together and they talk about their accolades. That's just the way it is, you know. It is what it is. I think it's better than watching, you know, a game. I'm a huge sports person. I used to play soccer. I used to play American football. I used to play basketball. I used to surf. I used to skate. I did everything. When I was in my teens and in my early 20s, I was out there. I was like constantly out there, and especially, you know, soccer and stuff like that. And I watch soccer, but, you know, watching sports as a pastime, I'm just not into it, you know. Maybe some surfing, some snowboarding, you know. But yeah, I think it's just good entertainment, you know. It's cool to see these people that you grew up with, you know. And then, yes, there's a lot of like BS and a lot of, a lot of BS. But in the end, you know, I do enjoy it. Alexia enjoys it. It's a good time, you know. It's once a year, and there's some really freaking good movies. I mean, Dune Part 2 is amazing visually. We just saw a movie. What was it called? With this girl, and she's pretty much like she's a dancer, and she meets like this kid, and then they kind of hit it off. And it's just a great story. It's like they actually came out with some original stuff this year, you know, The Brutalist. I thought it was based on a real story, you know, so I don't know. It's just, you know, sometimes they're better than, and they're going to get hosted by Conan, who's hilarious. I don't know. We just have a good time. This piece was so good. I heard it before in the other movie, and I think I've heard it just maybe once or twice just by going through life. But I've never seen the movie, but I loved how he was conducting, and he must have been 2 years old when he wrote this, because the man doesn't look older than like 30 something, you know. It's crazy. Just wonderful how he directed, you know, his music. You know, maybe he's not like a musical conductor, but the way he did it was just amazing, wonderful. He has everything under control. He knows all the cues. It's a great time. And I remember the first time when I heard the Crybaby, when I heard the Wah Wah, I didn't know what it was. And then one time we walked, my parents and I, we went to LA. This one time they took me to LA, and I wanted to go to a guitar shop, like no matter what. And I remember I never been to the US, and there's the way Guitar Center has, like, I don't know, I don't think it was Guitar Center. I think it was a private shop, but there was just like guitars plastered on the walls, and I could not believe what I was seeing. And then I think there was a guy trying out a Crybaby, and he was like doing that, and I was like, oh my god, I need this device. And I was like the only one for like years in that little town where we lived in Mexico, in Puerto Vallarta, who had a Crybaby. And it was just fantastic. And now I have one exactly the same right here. It's a Jim Dunlop. Here we go. See, wonderful device. And these are very, very, very old, but very, very good. This is what Jimi Hendrix used, you know. So yeah, it's a device that's, you know, still has the power to transform music in amazing ways. It's very dusty, so sorry about that. But thank you so much, JK. This was amazing. This was an amazing marathon. I hope I didn't make it too long. I like to talk. That's just, you know, the way I am, you know. But I guess that's why a lot of people watch these videos. They like to be entertained by my whatever nonsense that I say, or, you know. But this was wonderful. Thank you so much for this really cool history lesson. And it has to do with movies, and we're movie freaks. I mean, Alexia wanted to become a movie director, for crying out loud. That's what she wanted to do. And then she kind of like said, well, you know, that's maybe not the best idea. You know, it's like very difficult, very expensive. But that's what she wanted. She wanted to direct. So, you know, and she has a great eye, and we just love, you know, we when we watch a movie, we're in there, we looking at the camera angles, at shots, certain things. Music is always an important part of movies, so this was just wonderful to do. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Hope you liked the marathon, everyone. If you do, please like it, subscribe to all that stuff, comment in the chat. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.